ngā tātou, karaki e timatanga, kei ino i tātou, he ngore, korore au nā ngā rongo ki te whenua, whakaaro pai ki ngā tangata katoa, awhiti ora ki te whai au, ki te ao mārama, whiti ki ronga, whiti ki raro, e nunu ki te pō atu, e nunu ki te rākau, tītaha ki tēnei taha, tītaha ki tērā taha, tihei mauri ora. Let light shine into the world, let it shine from above, let it shine from below. Immerse yourself in nature, listen this way, listen that way, the breath of life. Ko te mihi tuatai, te mihi ki te atua, ko tāne māhuta, te āriki o te Taiao, me ngā manu, tēnei te mihi. Ko te whare e tū nei, tēnā koe, tēnei te mihi ki a koe, oku kaiako, ko Ron, mātauranga, tohunga ki te mātauranga mā tuku iho. I ngā manuhiri, ko te whaia titirangi, me te kaunihere o te tairāwhiti, i taku rōpū, ko mahaki mai ngā kai, tēnā koutou katoa. Ko te kaupapa i tēnei rā, e aha, me pēhea te whakamahi te māramataka. Tō tātou riha, tēnei rā, ko te toriura stout. Patoa te toriura, 2,500. Ko wai au, i te taha tōku pāpā, ko kurangi te maunga, ko wai au ki te awa, ko Ngāti Porou te iwi, i te taha tōku māma, ko maunga haumi te maunga, ko waipawa te awa, ko te aitanga maha ki te iwi. Kia ora koutou katoa.
Tēnā tātou te whānau, kua huihui mai nei te ara i te maru i runga i te kaupapa o tēnei rā. Ko mihi kore te pari ahau, i te taha o tōku kāpā, ko Manupoa te maunga, tauranga te awa, ko te tatau o hape ki tuarangi te marae, ko Ruahine te wharekai, ko Mātātua te waka, ko Muriwaka te hapu, ko Tuhoi te iwi. I te taha o tōku pāpā, ko tōku kuia, ko Tarokoa te maunga, tohora whia te awa, ko Nukutai Mimiha te waka, ko Ruataupare te marae, ko te whānau Ruataupare ki Tūpāroa te hapu, ko Ngāti Porou te iwi. Kia ora.
Mōrena whānau, hei mahara mai ki te rānei, ki tō tātou kaupapa, i te tau tōku pāpā, o te aitanga māki, o kahua tiu te maunga, o kākiri ki te awa, ko mai te whakahone te hapu, i te tau tōku māma, o oti ki te maunga, tuna nui te awa, ko tarahauati te hapu, o Ngāti Porou te iwi. Kia ora.
Kia ora whānau. Alright, so we're going to start off with our visions and our goals for our project, and that is to protect and enhance our biodiversity as well as our indigenous species within ki roto tūranga. Our goal is to be free of states by 2050. Ka pai. Maramataka.
Okay, kia ora anō ki te whānau. Just a brief introduction to what is the māramataka and how we utilise it. Specifically with the eradication of pests, in our case we do stoats, or toriura. Māramataka is a lunar calendar, so it goes off the moon cycle, which is quite consistent. Rākau nui, the full moon, and whiro, the new moon, always 15 days apart. So yeah, so that's patterns that our tipuna would have picked up on. Quite observant people, and patterns were something that they observed, picked up, and they utilised in their day-to-day life. This particular māramataka is Rangi Matamua's son, a professor of Mātauranga Māori, especially in the stars. So I think the Maramataka was bought by our tipuna prior to the waka migrations to Aotearoa. There would have been the environment there would have been quite different to what they to coming to Aotearoa from the islands. In saying that, there's many various Maramataka. They're adapted to the environment, and with Aotearoa having such a diverse range of temperatures from subtropical in the far north, Taiao, to very cold in Aitahi country down the South Island. So each Maramataka was taken into account the tohus and signs of the different migrations of the birds, insects, other animals, and just like I said, our tipunas were very observant, and over time that knowledge would have been passed down. Prior to colonisation, we had no written language, so everything was all passed down to the next generation, Each generation would probably contribute something new, some kind of improvement. And then eventually we just become masters of our Taiao. We know all the signs. The Maramataka will tell us when to plant our kai, when to harvest our kai, best times to go fishing, when to avoid fishing, when to avoid working, when to just kick back and relax sometimes.
The amazing thing about our Maramataka is that even though Whiro and Rākau Nui are always 15 days apart from each other, every other moon in between alternates. So it's always best to just go off both our Whiro and our Rākau Nui to give you a better accurate thing. Another thing about this Maramataka is that you've got all these beautiful QR codes on each side. So on this side, on our left side, we have, I'm guessing, interests, hobbies and interests and all of that stuff. So you bring your phone up, you scan either of these QR codes, and then they take you straight to the page with more information. And then on BJ's side, those are more the
legal requirements and constraints. So this is public holidays, school holidays, that type of stuff, daylight saving times. So these are things we have to take into account from a legal standpoint. So useful information to have access to. It's pretty difficult to memorise all of this stuff. Also, it has this Maramataka has the months of the year at the top in Te Reo Māori, at the bottom in Te Reo Pākehā. On the very top here is the star constellation that you can find on the dawn that coincides with each month. And the big factor here is the energy line. So you see it at the bottom here. It shows the various energy states. Obviously they go up, down, and this coincides with our days of the month. So today is Taiao, which is actually a low energy day. It's a day to kick back, really, avoid huis. A low energy day anyway. So hey aha, and we just push on through. What else is
We've got our tohus up here.
Yeah, that's right. We've got our. Also at the top we have our 4 tohu categories. Tohu being the signs. So tohu o te rangi is obviously the signs from above, which can be our bird migration patterns. So when they migrate off and they come back in. We have tohu o te wai, which is the signs from coming from the water. There can be the sea currents, migration patterns of the fish when the fish are running. We have tohu o te whenua, which is the signs from the land, which is when certain species of trees or flowers bloom, all that type of stuff. Land animals are nesting, all that type of information, all of that things that our tipuna would have observed, and we would have added that to their kete, tauranga. And last is our tohu tangata, it's just signs from our humans, I guess,
Yeah. So this season is a perfect season for a sign because it's hay fever season. I don't know if you get hay fever, but I sure do. And yeah, it's been going off this year, so beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah, one of our probably more well-known tohu, especially on the east coast, is when Putukawa bloom means the kinders are ready to
Kinders are fat farmers.
ready to smash. Anything else we need to cover?
This motherfucker here pretty much explains pretty much what we're going to do throughout the year for trapping stoats, monitoring stoats. This is pretty much everything about stoats displayed. This is Matamataka version 3. Took us a few of these to get to this point. Reason why it's version 3 because the other two we're too detailed and we're kind of sticking to the Gregorian. We weren't thinking about how our tipuna used to live. We're here, it's sort of, we're now, version 3, we just changed everything and just made it suit us as people, as well as, we just try to make it easier for us to trap and monitor stoats. Like BJ said all our tohus and all that, but we put a few tohu here, especially tohu whenua. We got like, it tells us now like tawhara and fruit. And it pretty much tells us it's like end of winter.
Yeah. And the tawhara is a real good, it's a delicacy to our rodents and possums and stuff like that. And because rodents is one of the state's favourite kai to eat, they probably adapted to look out for when these are in flower because they know that all their prey, all their kai is going to be hanging around in this area. Well, just going by how clever our states are, they're real coy, they're real hard to catch in traps. You usually catch them in double hole traps and that's because they think the trap has been set off so they can go in and don't have a kai failing to realise there's another trap in there. And all of that stuff. Heard a kōrero where a team was doing trapping. One trap was, there was big activity that there was stoats around that area, however the trap that was in that area wasn't catching anything and so they thought they'll move it closer to the blackberry pitch and by the next day they caught that stoat because where it was out in the open and the states know their only major predator is our hawks, is our kāriarea and all of that stuff, so that they're real tricky. And so from them moving it right next to the blackberry, they caught it. So just trying to think how a stoat would think. Real clever, real ambitious, pretty much a perfect killing machine. They can swim, they can climb. They could jump, they could do it all, and they do it all. They're carnivores, so they eat meat, they love meat. They can travel up to 60 k's in one day. Little black, they've got a black tip on their tail, so that's one of their descriptions on how you would identify your states, as well as they've got a white belly with brown fur.
They were also introduced to Aotearoa by Europeans to control the booming rabbit population. But yeah, they found that birds were easier to catch than rabbits. So, yeah.
So that's your law
Actually decimated a lot of our native bird species. A lot of species have gone extinct. Because Aotearoa was just a bird haven. So millions of years of evolution, they had no natural predators. Our birds evolved to walk along the ground and was dead safe. So with the introduction of these species, also the rats and the possums, has been catastrophic for our native species.
Yeah, not just because they couldn't, our natives couldn't really adapt to state because it didn't matter if they had a belt burrow or like a little hole in the tree, states rats could get in there.
And states will search every hole, every cavity that they'll come across to find anything that they can find. They kill anything that comes past them. Stash killers, so they just kill anything for fun, stash it, carry on to Tolaga or wherever, and then come back when he's hungry and comes back and eats it. So yeah, he's not even hungry and he's still killing. So that's a bad sign in itself. Male stoats mate with their kits at 3 days old. However, they are unable to have them until they mature, until they turn into adults.
What else? Oh yeah, pretty much with the life cycle. On here we've just broken it down into, it's four. You got your spring, summer, autumn, winter, and during this time in winter, you've got they feed on rodents, all our states, they feed on all the rodents, just like rats. And during this season here, it's spring, it's breeding season, that's when states breed the most, like even right now at this time they're breeding, but I think all their young will be ready to leave the nest soon.
And they're seeking for protein more now that they've got kits to feed. They're 4 times more. They're hunting 4 times more than usual.
If we're working with the mana mataka with no months or days, the tohu or the sign with us would be that the tea coca tree is starting to flower, which would tell us time to trap them in the springtime.
And then that's it. And during the summer, that's when they feed on our native species. And obviously there'll be more, since the breeding season's finished, their numbers are high, which means you're going to smoke a lot of our native species. And over here in autumn, it's just rodents are abundant, so states will just, the rodents, the rats will go to the half of the tree, all the seeds, and then our states will just annihilate all the rats.
Autumn time, we'll have a lot of trees dropping seeds, and plenty of clay, and it usually increases the rat population. So yeah, then the cycle continues once again.
But and also on here, like with all the colours, it looks pretty. But pretty much
It's got gameplay behind it though, whānau.
Every month, it's pretty much the same. You've got 3 sections every month almost where you're trapping and monitoring. That's all the green. All the pink is just reflecting, and all the orange is prepping and planning to go back out and trap and monitor again. So yeah, we break it down like that because you can do everything in the green. You can monitor, you can trap, do your tube tags or tube cards, your wax tags, everything. And
That would have been toilers and trapping pests. Eh? That would have been our specialist area.
trapping skirts.
So the time to where we want to trap our stoats the most, or intensively trap, is when they're breeding. So that's in our spring season. We want to try and get as much as those stoats as we can before summer comes, and then they start turning on our native species. It's a big no, please no. Yeah.
And like Te Koranga, that's like they trap that area to save the field. It's a
good example of a successful trap line. was made up of hunters, gatherers, fishers, everyone out there doing it for their whānau. They saw that our whio were having babies, however the babies weren't surviving. They saw that over a period of maybe 2 to 5 years, and so they thought they'd do something about it and start trapping. And yeah, as soon as that first year of trapping, our whio were able to have their babies and keep their babies, and their babies were able to have babies themselves. So yeah, that's a real good example of what a good trapping program could do, and that's what we would love to do, is to get rid of all the states and bring back all our indigenous species, our taonga species that mean the most to us, that give us our identity and give us our whakapapa to who we are as tangata whenua, as Māori.
Oh,
Amy.
So for more information, you should bring Area 100 States.
What's our email again?
www.states@gmail.com. That's our email, so
Yeah, thank you very much for listening to our presentation, whānau. You have been the best. Yeah, look forward to hearing your fellas' presentations.
especially your Rotarians, can't wait for that.
Mai ora whānau.